All right, guys, so I have been running around this place like a madman, cleaning, getting rid of the clutter, just basically getting rid of everything that's been bringing me down around here. Um, you know, before me and the wife had this place, we lived in what was considered a tiny home, I guess. And, before tiny homes were cool. And for 7 years, me and the wife lived in a 380 square foot place. And I will tell you what, when something comes in to a building that size, something else needs to go out. Because if it doesn't, before you know it, you got stuff from the floor to the ceiling just stacked. And that can get very depressing very quickly. And when we got out of that place, that was the one thing we told ourselves, was like, we do not want to live like that again. And before you know it, this place looked like a complete disaster, and we're starting to feel the same sort of feelings and that overwhelming amount of clutter that kind of like depresses you after a while was starting to creep in on us. So I don't know what happened to me on the first of the year, but I came outside and I just started cleaning like crazy. I've come up with a few solutions that are definitely going to keep me on track to keep this place neat and clean. I know every homesteader out there is like, they come across something and it's like, well, I can use this for this project or that project later, and it saves money, and I'm totally on board with that. But there comes a point in time where it's like, is it gonna be, if you haven't used it in 5-10 years, are you gonna use it? And then by the time that you do need it, are you even gonna know where it is? There's a fine line between keeping something as a resource and turning your property into a junk pile. So I feel like that's where we were getting. This place was just turning into a junkyard. So here's the solution that I've come up with. Now, there's been a few times in the past where I've gone around here, cleaned this place up, had it looking great, and then 2-3 days later, I come outside, the kids have gotten into this or that, the dog's gotten into stuff, and it's like all that hard work was just down the drain, and the place just looked like the mess that it looked like before I started cleaning it up. So here's what I came up with as a solution. So right here, I've got 3 candle panels, all tied up to each other, basically just a triangle. It's good enough to get me by on what I need to do here. But what I did was, I've got my junk pile in here. Now, I don't have a trailer. When I need a trailer, I borrow my dad's next door's, and that's great. But the problem is I get his trailer, I start filling it up with junk, and then before you know it, 2-3 weeks go by and I'm still like, I get more stuff on there and I'm not making my dump run. And then before you know it, he needs a trailer, and then it's like, then we're both kind of at each other with, well, who needs it first, and it just creates pressure and it just gets difficult. So, and in the same sentence, I don't want to get stuff and not make it a worthwhile trip. So if I only got 1 or 2 items to take to the dumps, I'm not going to take it to the dumps. I'm going to have a full truck or a full trailer before I make that run. So what I started doing is I got these cattle panels set up, and now I have a designated place where I can put stuff, build up my pile, and in the same sense, I don't have to worry about the kids coming in there, pulling stuff out, the dog going in there and making a big mess. I got it all under control now, and when I am ready, I can get a trailer, and in just a few hours, I'll have that thing loaded up, and I'll be on my way to take my dump run, and problem solved. This will suffice for now, but my long-term solution is, once I get this out of here, I am going to do something a lot nicer as far as this setup goes. I'm going to get my cattle panels, set them up in a box, get some pallets down, and just have a designated place where when something goes bad, like I lose an appliance or whatever, or, like I got this pile back here where I have a washer, I have a dryer, I got a fan that stopped working, and I got 50 piles and all over this place with 10 different things on it, and it's just, what do you do with all this stuff? It's just, I got my fan, I got these 2 things here, this has got to go. I got all these old hoses that were left here from the previous owners that you just move them and they break into pieces. So anyway, designated spot for junk. That is a big goal here that I'm going to be working on here pretty soon as I get all this stuff cleaned up. Right over here, I had the chicken brooder that I mentioned in the past was just a clutter collector, and I couldn't wait to get rid of it. So I've gotten rid of that stuff, and you know, a lot of the stuff that I've had, I've been able to burn. So that's why my pile isn't as big as I would think with the effort that I've put out. But anyway, that's gone. And you know guys, I don't have chickens anymore. So I did a video a little while back about our rooster dying. I don't know what happened. Part of me feels like he had an altercation with something, but I don't know. I really don't know. There was no signs of an attack, but I have no answers for that. But the problem here was we had our dog get in this chicken yard a few times, which didn't end well. And then in the same sentence, we also had chickens that were getting out left and right. And it was just like a constant battle. And it got to the point after the rooster died where we were just like, we're done with chickens for now. This was never supposed to be a permanent setup. This was only put here for temporary, you know, instant gratification so we could still have chickens and get eggs. But the battle just wasn't worth it. So we found the chickens that we had left a really good home. They're in like a bear-proof setting, so they should have a very good long life ahead of them. They got a great home, and we feel like we made the right decision. And what this does is this cleans up this will give me a chance to clean this up, because I've never liked this to begin with. We're not done with chickens, but I'm not going to do chickens again until I can do them the way that we have intended to do on a permanent basis. And when we do get chickens next time around, I'm going to build a Fort Knox. We're going to have it in a central location where we're going to keep all our animals, and I'm not going to have these problems anymore. Now, something else that I just wanted to throw out there was, you know, I feel like I just made a video where I was talking about where have I been, because I went on a little vacation from YouTube, and you know, all of October I didn't have internet. We had a power outage late September, and our internet went out, and we didn't have internet for a solid month. Okay, it got fixed, and then we went about another month with internet, and then it went out again. So like half of December into January, I went another 17 days without internet, and we don't have a whole lot of choices around here on what we have for providers. I've kind of already tapped into those sources, and I know like a couple months ago I tried getting our best option installed next door for my mom and dad, and they couldn't get a good enough signal to make it worthwhile, so they didn't do it. So I'm like, well, it was probably not going to happen here. But we started looking into it again, and we found a fixed wireless provider. So there is my new internet. And then on top of that, we upgraded our cell phones, and now we have unlimited data. So I shouldn't be having any more internet problems. So no more vacays for me when it comes to lost internet. So that, I'll tell you what, is a big relief, because trying to do banking and all those other things that you need to do with internet and not having it, it's just, I can't even tell you how upsetting that can get after like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But anyway, guys, I have all about cleaning things up and getting things looking good, and getting a good mindset these days. So that's what I've been working on. Thanks for tuning in. Check you guys later.